I was excited the first 5 minutes of this episode, but by the end of the episode, I'm trying to figure out what in the hell did I just watch? Hey, what's up and hello. This is the Chris Nicole bringing you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. And this is my review on Yellowjackets, Season 3, Episode 8, A Normal, Boring Life. We start off with Psycho Shauna and Jackie. Of course, this is Psycho Shauna's delusion. Jackie talks to her about how she went from getting into Brown University to working at a grocery store. Trust me, in this economy, you can be a Brown University graduate at this point and work in a grocery store. She's scanning what appears to be meat, but we realize it's pieces of bodies that she's scanning, probably representing all the people she unalived. Next, we see moths in the ceiling being drawn to the light. Psycho Shauna wakes up from her delusion, and it's daytime. She is now ready to slice and dice, and she enters the home, just opens the door, like a typical horror movie. Who leaves their doors unlocked? No one. She hides in a closet and hears a woman and children, and we see it's a couple, and the blonde one knows someone is in the house. She says, whoever the F you are, get out right now. You have no idea whose house you just walked into. Shauna walks out and says, actually, I do know what house I walked into, Melissa. Or is it Kelly now? Honey, it is Melissa, Shauna's Wicked Wood stalker. Melissa says, Shauna, what are you doing here? And Shauna says, what are you doing alive? So they have a Kill Bill moment with their pokies. Come on, bitch. We find out Melissa married Hannah's daughter and changed her name to Kelly. Meanwhile, Melissa calls Shauna telling her to come back or else. A doctor tells Ty that she needs to think about hospice care for Van because there's nothing they can do for her at this point. But Ty is like, nope. Inner demon, please come out. I need to find someone to take out. Back in the Wicked Woods, Misty lost her eyes, her pair of glasses, and she's calling for her team who don't give a shit about her anyways. But she ends up finding her broken glasses and can somewhat see again. Crocodile Dundee, Travis, and Aquila are walking back to civilization, but Aquila is like, this isn't right. We have to get the others, and my dream said Coach was our way home, not this scavenger. And Travis is like, guess what, Aquila? You had an effed up dream because you were high off of the gas. And guess what? I made it up. You're not a prophet. You're not seeing visions. It was all fake. And I think you know it's fake. Aquila agrees, or she makes it seem like she's okay with what he's saying, but she starts leaving traces of her sweater to show where she's going. All the demons and girls are asking Hannah questions about what day it is and what are they saying about them back home. Hannah is like, who are you, bitch? I don't know who you are. They tell her that they're a soccer team from New Jersey. And Hannah's like, oh my gosh, I remember it was all over the news. And so they're like, is anyone still looking for us? And Hannah's like, I don't know. They searched for months. But Psycho Shauna is like, so they just gave up? Our family, our friends? Shauna, you don't have family or friends. In fact, where are your parents? Where are any of their parents? We've only seen Natalie's effed up mother. Are any of their parents still alive? Hannah says, I can't get you out of here. Crocodile Dundee is the only one who can get us out. Misty comes back and says that she knows where Aquila, Travis, and Dundee are. So they all go hunting for them. But Psycho Shauna tells Ty, of all people, to watch Hannah and Loco Lottie. Jeff and Callie are eating in the hotel restaurant, but I'm sorry, that hotel restaurant looks way nicer than the room that they were in. He sees the arrogant pricks he had dinner with, the ones that he was trying to get their business. They tell Jeff that they're going to another company, and Jeff is like, hell no, you can't do that. Meanwhile, Misty calls him asking if he's heard from Shauna, but of course he hasn't, and he freaks out, and Misty is like, where was she the day that Lottie was unalived? And Jeff is like, What did Psycho Shauna do now? Because we all know she's the new serial mom. Back in the present, we find out Melissa faked her own passing. Shauna's delusional ass thinks Melissa is still in love with her, and Melissa's like, no. In fact, I was never in love with you. I was just scared of your crazy ass. We find out Melissa sent Shauna the tape, and we find out Hannah told Melissa where the tape was. Melissa promised Hannah to give it to her daughter, but with everything on it, she couldn't even fathom giving it to her. Melissa swears she loves Hannah's daughter, and Shauna is like, she doesn't even know your real name. But Melissa is like, this relationship is real. She has a good life. They're happy and they're in love. And of course, Shauna's hating ass says, yeah, I don't give a shit. Sit down. Akilah pretends that she has something in her shoe so the girls can surround them and force them back to the torture camp. Travis was trying to get the hell up out of there. He didn't care about them other girls. But of course, when Shauna asked them when they get back to the camp, did they plan on leaving them, Travis and Akilah lied. Dundee tells them it will take 6 days for them to get to rescue. But Misty is like, what if they tell people what Loco Lottie did? Natalie says, F that, we can go home, let them bury their friend, and let's pack. And Loco Lottie says, no, we don't belong there anymore. And Natalie is like, and why the F should we listen to you? I agree. Back in the present, Shauna is like, why send me the tape if you didn't want to mess up your perfect life, Melissa? And Melissa says because it was haunting her. And she says she kept the tape to make sure that they wouldn't come after her. Shauna's crazy ass is confused as to why they would come after her. Girl, I would be scared too. Melissa says she left a note with the tape, but Shauna says you're lying. You're trying to make me crazy. Too late. Shauna says you tried to unalive me, but it's genius because the only way to be safe so no one can tell your darkest secrets is to be the only one left. And that's why you unalived Lottie. And Melissa is like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I didn't know Lottie was gone. At the hospital, Ty is attempting to unalive a man who was on his D-bed. But Ty, without her inner demon, can't do it. But the man is about to go to the upper room anyways. And Ty is like, well, does this count? No, it doesn't count. Back in the Wicked Woods, the girls are having dreams of going back home, actually having a real comforter and toilet paper and a toilet. Ty interrupts Van's dream by saying, what if we can't be together when we get back to the real world? Has the world really changed that much since we've been out here? Ty also says, are you worried about what we will have to tell people when we get back? What we've done out here. And we'll have to unalive the scientists. Ty is like, this place will follow us for the rest of our lives. And she's right. But Van tells her to pack, stop tripping. But as soon as she says that, Ty inner demon comes through and she's looking at Van like she wants to put her on a grill. Back in the Wicked Woods, Psycho Shauna is asking why Melissa is acting weird. And Melissa is like, you're crazy. I want to get away from you. You didn't even care about me when I was hurt and you didn't even ask me if I was okay. This is the same girl who slept with her BFF boyfriend. And you expect for her to care about you. Okay. Melissa starts talking about what life will be like when they return, and she's having a moment, but next thing you know, Shauna sees this damn moth again. I think the moth represents misfortune and the big D. Back in the present, Shauna doesn't believe Melissa when she says she has nothing to do with Psycho Shauna's claims. Melissa is like, I'm normal. Put the past behind you. Shauna's like, you're not normal. You aren't even you. But Shauna, you're not you either. Callie is calling Shauna and Melissa goes in and puts salt in Shauna's wound and I am loving it and here for it. Melissa says, is that your daughter? Talking about me living a lie. Does she know what you're capable of? And Shauna's like, actually, yes, she does. And Melissa says, and she still loves you? And Shauna's like, yes, she does. And Melissa's like, look who's lying now, bitch. Jeff is losing his mind over Shauna, and Callie is the only adult in the room. Callie says, I don't think anyone is after Mom, and he says, neither do I. They both realize Shauna is crazy. Jeff says, you know what? Let's go home. Back in the Wicked Woods, the girls are thinking about going back to civilization, and Akila has a vision of all of her animals being gutted. And of course, local Lottie says, what's wrong? What did you see? With so much crazy excitement. Natalie puts Coach Remains back on the plane, and she hears footsteps and says, we are going home. Whatever you are, we are leaving you behind. Negative. Back in the present, Ty's inner demon enters Van's room, and Ty tries to go in, but the inner demon says, I am the only one that can help her. Back in the Wicked Woods, they're all ready to go, but Loco Lottie says she's staying. And Natalie is like, girl, we can go home. And so Loco Lottie says, what home do we have to go to? I won't be well. Lottie, you were never well. Lottie says, I won't be me, and we should stay here. Natalie is like, fine, you stay. Everyone else, let's go. And then the second Psycho Shauna says, I'm staying too. And Natalie is like, what the F is going on here? And then Ty, all three psychos, says, something doesn't feel right since those two arrived. Talking about Dundee and Hannah. Natalie is like, F it. We're out. You guys can stay. And Psycho Shauna says, no, you guys aren't going anywhere. Help me understand. Why can't all of you just jump Shauna? It's only one of her. She may have 50 demons inside of her, but y'all can take her. Kick her ass. Jeff and Callie check out of the Motel 6, but before they leave, Jeff sees the Joels and tells them that his wife ruined the dinner. She's crazy, but he's not crazy, and his business isn't crazy, and he's the best person for the job. Back at Melissa's house, Melissa gives more truth to Shauna. She says, okay, did someone cut your brake line or is your car old? Did someone lock you up in the freezer or was it just the door? You create your own problems. You stirred a pot just to feel alive. You were effing your best friend's boyfriend behind her back. You hate yourself. You want people to feel just as miserable as you. Whoo, I felt that in my soul. Yes, Melissa, tell her off. Melissa keeps pouring truth on that psycho heifer, and she tries to grab the pokey, and Psycho Shauna takes her. But when Melissa gets the best of her and makes Shauna bleed, I guess the taste of red rum turns her into Hannibal Lecter, and she takes one big bite out of crime and takes a piece of Melissa's arm and takes the skin and tells her to eat it. And Melissa's like, you really are insane. Psycho Shauna says, eat it or I will tell your family exactly who you are. And then the episode goes off. I give this episode an F. Writers, you have lost your freaking minds. What does this have to do with the story? What was the purpose of us seeing this? What in the hell is going on in that writer's room? What was the purpose of that last scene? Help me understand. So with that being said, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Toodles.